Alright, here we are on a beautiful, not really that beautiful morning. Little bit sprinkly out here, but this is just a little thing that I talked with my neighbor about. We're going to knock this out today. He's got this little tiny patch of overgrowth here, but there's a lot of stumps and stuff through here. He just had some big white pines down here that he recently took out, and there was some other stuff in here. I was here last night and hauled a couple of huge logs out that were laying right here, and a little bit of stuff over there we took out. But yeah, we're just going to kind of flatten this area out here. There's a big stump right there. There's various little things sticking up here. It's like a little stump thing right there. It's kind of sharp, and it's like the kind of thing that's sharp enough you don't want to run your truck over, or tractor or something. And I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to cut a layer off of that before I get started. But got these big stumps over here, and I'm just going to kind of flatten them down to the, we're not going to try to dig them out or grind them down so much. We're just going to kind of flatten it out so this area becomes useful. Okay, so first off, I do apologize for how jumpy that opening sequence was. I was serious about getting a gimbal camera stabilizer. It has been ordered and it has been shipped, and now it's on its way. So once I get that and learn how to use it, all that stuff's going to get better. So anyway, yeah, this was a neat little job, and it was great because it was so close to home. So I actually just drove the Bobcat down the road, and some of these pictures you can actually see my house in the background. It's about a half-mile away, but anyway, yeah, he wanted to get these stumps out of here, but he was a little hesitant to, get in there with a with a big grinder and really tear everything up. And so we discussed it, and I said, you know what, I can make them flush with the ground. I can't dig them up, but I can get them knocked down. And so we said, well, let's do that, and then I could also take care of those woods at the end. And so it turned out to be the right tool for the job. So these are pretty big stumps, for a forestry mulcher. Of course, grinding stumps is just all in a day's work for a forestry mulcher because you're cutting down trees with it. And so people ask me all the time, well, how big a tree can you mulch with a mulcher? And the answer really is there's not a limit. It's just an issue of how long you want to spend doing it. And so I normally tell people there comes a point where it's big enough that it's where the stump is big enough that the forestry mulcher is not really the right tool for the job anymore. If you're dealing with large trees, you probably want to cut them down, either just cut them down with a chainsaw and haul them out of there, or use some other kind of logging tools or whatever. If they're big enough, you don't want to be mulching up a lot of 12, 15, 20-inch trees. It's not that you can't do it, it's just it's not efficient, and it's just it's an awful lot of work. So we did have some discussion on how long it would take to mulch up these stumps, and I just had to be straight with them. Say, I don't really know. It might take might take 5 minutes, might take 20 minutes, and it turns out I was kind of in the ballpark there. So I just put the numbers down on the video just so you could see. But for these bigger stumps, we're anywhere between for these, they range from about 8 minutes to about 22 for that big fifth one. In fact, this one right here. And I had cut some of this log up with the chainsaw, but I didn't have my good chainsaw. Not that my other one's not, doesn't run well, but I basically sawed as much as I could, and I got tired and said, you know what, the machine is going to handle this just fine. So I got some of it out of there. But you can tell this particular tree had it was mounded up higher around this one than it was any of the other ones, and so I was contending not just with the stump, but all of the ground. It's hard to tell in the videos how the ground lays a lot of times, but in this one, when I drive up onto where the stump mound is, you can tell that the bobcat's driving up, and like when I go across it like that, you can tell that it's higher there. So I just kept working on it, and I didn't necessarily catch all of it on video either. When I went back to do the final back drag, I think I went over these just a little bit more, but I kept trying different techniques to figure out which was best, but mostly you just kind of got to get on there and just keep at it. By the time I get done there, you can tell I'm actually driving pretty smoothly over it, and so, on this one I do a little back dragging here and kind of get it smoothed out, but then I'll go in there and start scrubbing away at it a little bit more, and and you can kind of see it come to the surface again. But basically we just wanted to get this down to the point where you could scatter a little dirt over it and plant some grass and drive over it if you need to or whatever. But anyway, it's all flat and smooth now. Most of the times I publish these videos, I have them running at faster speeds just because I don't want to be putting ridiculous length videos out there. But this is kind of a neat little patch here, and I thought I would just run a little bit of video at regular speed, but this will go back and forth a few times because it's not all that terribly interesting. And there's right there about where I am right now, there's a pretty big stump right there, and I kind of hit it a little bit and then went and did some other stuff, went back and hit it a little bit more, and I eventually got it worked down. The scheduling on this job worked out really well for me because I've got my other Bobcat and all my driveway implements all loaded into a job that's about an hour away from here, and we got all this weather that came through, rain and snow and all sorts of stuff, but it was all just north of us here, but it was raining and snowing for a couple of days up at the place where all my stuff is, so I couldn't really go up there and work in the rain. So but I had this machine here at home, and I actually just drove it from home, just drove it down the road, and worked out real well. Gave me something to do while my other job was rained out. Had to be careful of that road off to the left. It's not a very busy road, but it runs right beside an elementary school, which is actually right behind where I'm working there. And it was in the afternoon. The school was just letting out, so there's a lot of cars coming and going. And right here, I'm probably maybe 75, 80 feet away from the road, and even where I am here, I was throwing debris all the way out into the road out there. So you'll see I'd have to turn around here in a little bit and start tackling this from the other side because I was just throwing too much debris out there. So something I always think about is where is all this stuff going. That's when I kept expecting it to fall and it kept not falling, is because it's got a vine holding the top of it up, so I just had to push on it until that vine came out. I was just doing my final back drag and just smoothing it all out. I did come back after the last pictures I have here and with a leaf blower and went around the entire work area and blew the debris back in. So I don't actually have a final picture here, but do have a pretty good look at what it looked like when I left. So there you have it. And if you got any questions, put them in the comments. And thank you so much. If you would, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next job.